All right, welcome back everyone to Novel Nonsense. Tiffany here, and we are doing another author interview with the lovely Elle Wood. So, first of all, thank you so much for hopping on here and chatting with us about your books. I'm super excited. But I always like to, before we dive into the books and everything, just kind of get to know you as outside of the author. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Elle. First of all, thank you for having me on here, and I love your channel. It's amazing. Outside of writing, which I do wish I could do more, I am a veterinary technician. I work in a specialty surgery department, and it's really fun. We have a great team who we like to laugh a lot, and we like to listen to music, so it's a fun time. But even more important, we love helping. We work with cats and dogs, and we love helping them, making them feel better. So that's a little bit about my work side. Home, I do have two little girls who keep me very, very busy, and I have a very wonderful, supportive husband. When possible, if we can find someone to watch our girls, he comes with me to book cons and things like that, and he's just really, really supportive. And then beyond that, if during spare time, which I know everyone, it's hard to find, we like to go for walks. The girls like to go swimming. They like to go to the beach. We don't get to do that often, but if we get to, they do like to do that. And then we also have a very, very energetic husky. She is 8, so she's just now starting to act like she's 3 years old. So
I was
going to slow down. Yeah. But it's kind of sad that she's coming out of her puppy phase at 8 years old, because like, okay, you are getting older.
right.
But she's fun. And then we also have a cat, and that's basically kind of what I get to do outside of writing. So
I love that. And I did see, because so I met Elle at the Big Ohio Book Con, and I did see your husband manning your booth while you were over in the other area. And I told my husband, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. He's just doing all the work for her while she's doing her thing. And I think that's so important to just have that really strong support system there. So that's fantastic.
yeah, he's great. We joked and said, while I was at a separate table, and if you want his signature too, he'd be more than happy to. And he knows some about my books, but you can ask him, and he might give you like a completely different story, and then say just kidding, and then go. Right. He's got a humor. It's just, he's very fun. And he can remember a lot of like funny sayings. He has just a very good memory, and I wish I had that. And I can't remember all like the fun sayings and things and quips for movies. So
I know. I'm always very jealous of the people who can just pull quotes out of nowhere. Like, I have to read something multiple times and I'm still Googling it because I'm like, wait, is that how it goes? And by then the moment's passed. So,
yep. Yes, I feel that.
oh, I love it. So tell us about, I do have this one here. I will admit, I told myself I was going to start reading it before our interview, and I ran out of time. So I have not read it yet, but I'm super excited. We are going away on a little mini vacation this weekend, so this is coming with me. Someone start reading it. But tell us just a little bit about some of your books.
Yeah. So the one you were holding there was my very first novel. So some authors will be like, don't read my first book. Kind of how I feel, but also at the same time, put a lot of work and effort to it, get a lot of good feedback. I know there's some errors in there that I do want to fix. But I think overall the story, I really like that, and I want more. I did end it as a duology. So it's upper young adult science fiction action adventure. It's a cross between X-Men and the Maze Runner. And I left room for a spinoff with different characters. So there's room for that. But I think it's I think a lot of people like that it's action packed and short, not short, but it really skips to the action. So it's a quick read. And that's actually one of the things that was meant to be a 3-book series.
Okay.
And so I originally I did write it as the first book was 2 books, and I cut so much out and into 1 book. So I got some feedback of it might just be a me thing, but I like my action scenes a little bit quicker. So I cut out a lot of fluff, and that ended up being a really good thing for the story. It made it, fast paced, action packed. And it really gives more of the vibes of X-Men in that way. So it's a urban setting, kind of has a dystopian feel at the beginning. It's a little bit tricky, but it is more of an urban setting. So
okay. Yeah, I think that's fair because I do, at least personally, when I hit those action scenes, I don't like a lot of extra random stuff in there. Like I just want to feel like I'm in it and go, go, go. So that definitely makes sense. Even though I haven't read it yet, I know I will appreciate that.
Well, if you don't, you know how to get a hold of me.
Right. You'll be getting an Instagram message. Listen, here's my thoughts.
So you need to change this should not be this way.
No, I think I'll love it. I mean, I absolutely loved Fives Academy. So tell us about that one.
Yeah, so that's my latest release, released this year. It's Elemental Academy. It's a cross between Avatar: The Last Airbender and Weak Saga. It basically follows the main character. It's in a dual point of view of the love interests. So you have a male character, main female character, and the female character, she recently lost her mom, and it kind of goes through the process of her trying to figure out what happened, who did that to her, and why are they after her, while also trying to kind of keep her identity hidden because she's hidden with her sister her whole life. And then when that happens, it forces her to come out and then take safety and refuge at this magical academy. So
yeah, it was fantastic. And I will say I love academy settings. So when I even just saw the name, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is for me. This is fantastic. And I feel like the only thing that I wanted really more of, and I understand why you didn't put it in there, but I love in the academic settings where it's going to sound so nerdy, but where we learn like what's happening in the classes, because then I feel like I'm in the classes learning that stuff as well. But I mean, it made sense because both of the sisters were way ahead of everybody else. And so they didn't really need to learn that stuff. But I was like, but I don't know any of this, so I want to sit in the class and learn.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's I think that would have been cool too. Learning, about certain spells and how to turn objects into life for a little bit and things like that. I agree with you on that. I think that would have been pretty cool. So that darn author should have done that. Note it for next time though, because that I agree. I think that would have been cool to learn. So on my end, that would have been neat to write a little scene in there, and there's definitely was opportunity to throw it in there. I think there was a scene where there was an otter in the classroom that I think that's been probably a good point to plug something.
Yeah, that was very cool. Now, remind me, is this a single book or is it part of a series?
So this one's a standalone. I end it in a way where it's slightly open-ended with a little bit of interpretation. I know you read it, so you know it without giving any spoilers away. But it is finished. It's going to be a standalone. There is potential if I wanted to. In my head, I'm like, I could create a second book, but I think her story and Ender's story is good to end there. I might maybe do just a little like novella or something down the road, but probably not a big book, just to keep her story and their story how it is. So,
Yeah.
but her sister I could potentially expand with her sister on when her next year of school and create drama that way.
Right? Well, and I do think you ended it really well. Like I didn't close the book and I wasn't angry with you. So, I think you ended it in a way that didn't leave like a big cliffhanger or something. So, I think it was good. Um, do you have any plans for like any prequels or anything to talk about kind of her mom and before all of everything happened?
Not at this time. It did cross my mind. I think it would be really neat to see, yeah, her mom at the school and how, without giving things away, what happened during her time there. I think that would be really neat, almost similar to the Mortal Instruments. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They have one that goes back. I think it's the Clockwork. Something like that. I didn't read them. I heard about it and I went to.
Very
yeah, something similar to that. So that has crossed my mind, and certainly the potential there. If maybe down the road when I get a little bit more time to write, I would love to, and kind of see where that takes me. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would love it. I think that would be fantastic. So if you need an ARC reader,
Yeah,
find me.
I'll you up.
And I know I told you at the book con, I think Chaos is my favorite side character, and I feel like he was the perfect amount of comedic relief during some moments. And he's just so sassy and just, even though he doesn't actually say words, like you can just feel the sass rolling off of him.
Yeah, he honestly was my favorite character to write in that story. Sorry, main characters, but I really love writing the animals. It might be, I don't know if it's my background or just animals are great and love them. Mm-hmm. I know he's a dragon, so I don't know if you classify him as an animal. But I really enjoyed writing him and then Aura the fox. I really enjoyed getting their little personalities in there, and
yes,
that's cute. But yeah, his kitchen scene I think is my favorite.
Yes. So stinking cute. Were any of like the familiars, as you were kind of picturing them and writing their characters, were you pulling any of like your patients from work, any of their characteristics into them at all?
That's a very good question. It doesn't come to mind, but I'm sure in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I remember seeing, this cat do this. Let me incorporate it into a dragon. Mm-hmm. Very much so. Maybe a little bit. I kind of picture when he's swinging from the ceiling from the pans and stuff, and he's got chicken in his mouth. I think of, when a cat is holding, their catch in their mouth and they're just kind of like looking at you. I kind of think of that in that scene, even though they're not hanging upside down.
Right.
A lot of that, and the silly quirks that animals have, especially cats. I love both dogs and cats, but they all have their personality. I just feel like cats come with a little bit more spite, and that's kind of what Chaos has, with that little bit of spite, sass, and a little bit of like spice to him.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fantastic. Yeah, he definitely had me giggling quite a few times when I was reading through things. So I think it was fantastic. So do you have a favorite out of the books that you've written so far? Are they pretty equal?
I think that really depends on when I'm writing it. I think before Fives Academy came out, so before this one came out, I would have probably said the second book in my first duology. I probably would have been like, oh, this is my favorite. But after I finished that one, and probably about 3/4 of the way through Fives Academy with proofreading, I think it ended up being this one. So right now, this one's kind of my favorite. But if you ask me in 6 months, it might go back to the vault.
Yep.
That's kind of hard. But I like the way Five's Academy turned out. And I know it's just complete, so it kind of all in one. It right now it's just kind of my favorite because of that. It was a good 2-year adventure put into one and done. So
yes. No, I love it. And who does your covers? Because these are phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So this one, these two, the vault, what you're holding up, and the Alliance, these ones are from Miblart, and I truly hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. They're based over in Ukraine, and they did a phenomenal job. They did a lot of edits, and they captured really what I was saying. There's a lot of detail, which you really can't tell from a first glance, but on this second book, there's this group called the Alliance, and the symbol is actually on here in the background, and so that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I went through someone different. I went through I really hope I'm not butchering this either. Atra Luna Designs. I think I'm saying that correctly, but she's great. And she did this one. I just gave her a few elements, themes, a little bit about the book, and she put this together. And I love how she did the elements all in here. And she has ether in the center, and the color schemes, the gate, and everything. So two different designers, and I personally think they both did such a great job. I might be a little biased though, but
no, I think they are beautiful. And I mean, even looking at the vault, like just I think all of the colors put together, and I'm assuming this is the FMC.
Yes, it is. It's Harper.
What you were envisioning as well.
Yes. I pictured it a little more like half face when I was describing, like, oh, I think that might be cool to have her eye in it. So very similar to Fable covers, the Fable covers were the half and half. Mm-hmm. And the way they ended up doing the side profile, I think it worked out pretty good and just unique, different. I can't really think of a cover that's very similar to this. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. So do you have, out of all the characters that you've written, mm-hmm. okay if you don't have an answer to this, but do you have a favorite character that you've written?
I do. Can it be a familiar?
It can.
It would be Chaos. Yeah, it would be the little dragon. I think he's my favorite. I loved writing him. And his scenes make me laugh. I'm like, oh, I wrote that made me laugh. I hope that means that's good. But yeah, it would be Chaos.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a character that is your least favorite?
Oh, I'm sure I certainly do. I'm trying to think without going, in retrospect of the antagonists.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, I wrote some that were in there to be annoying. I know I did do that. Mm-hmm. I think probably in Five's Academy, my least favorite. Again, I'm going to exclude the antagonist here. And I'm forgetting her name. And I kind of unalived her. That's really bad.
No, you're fine.
So maybe that's why she might have been my least favorite. No, I did like her. She just didn't come through a lot. I guess I wouldn't consider her as my least favorite. I don't know if I can answer that because I like them all. They all have a certain role to play in the story. So even including the antagonist, I don't know if I can say there's one I like the least.
Yeah.
A group of them. I don't know if I can single one out.
Yeah, fair.
Not like Chaos. Chaos was easy.
I do. I 100% still stick by. I think you need to have some sort of chaos merch at some point.
Yes, yes. I agree. I really wanted to get the stickers before the book con and have those because they're really cute. And I had little chibi characters. One of them, Celine, the main character, is holding the little dragon. And I really wanted to go get those printed in time, but unfortunately it didn't work out. But I'm hoping next time to get
Mhm.
a lot of stickers. I was gonna order, it was around, I think like 800 stickers.
Oh my goodness.
And I realized they weren't going to be here in time for the book con. I'm like, that's okay. We'll wait. Maybe we'll get stickers another time. So
Right, right. You don't need 800 stickers just sitting around. Oh my gosh, I love it. Now with any of your books, I guess, what would you say is kind of your favorite scene that you've written overall, or just favorite part of the book, either book?
yeah, we've talked a lot about kind of Fives Academy, so I'll pick one from the Vault. I don't remember if it's in the Vault or the Alliance. I think it's in the Vault. It's kind of blurred all in one in my brain at this point. But I really like the scene where the main character is, she goes off and she's doing something she's not supposed to, and she's doing it with her child best friend. She doesn't really remember him, her past, but she can't remember anything before she was in the vault. And at this point, they're out in the real world. She's going to do some investigating, and she gets found by this other guy who's there. He's helping her. He's a very young cop, and he's trying to help her figure things out, also keep her safe. And he tells her, like, no, you need to go back. Like, go back to, I think it's a safe house at this point. You need to go there. You don't need to be investigating anything. And instead, she goes to get on the bus, but he leaves, so she doesn't get on the bus. And then her best friend texts her and is like, hey, I'm right down the road at this parking lot. And so she goes and gets in with him, and then they go investigate and kind of completely ignore him and then get themselves into some trouble. But she has these electric powers, so she can handle herself and keeps them safe, but kind of just a little bit stubborn. And that was fun. I like that scene quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're rebellious.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. And I like because you also did this in Fives Academy where our FMC has powers, knows about it, has a pretty good sense of control over that. And I think for me, that was really refreshing because I feel like a lot of times, especially in those academic settings, they may not even know they have powers or they've just found them and they're trying to figure it out. So it was kind of cool to have her be like, nah, I'm good. Like, I know what I'm doing. I can take care of myself. I got it. Like, I just really enjoyed that, like, strong female energy. She's like, no, I don't need you. Thanks.
Yeah, yes. I really like that about the main character in Fives Academy. I will say in the vault, she's can sometimes be out. I don't know if you say annoying. I say it annoying with she's a very strong female main character, but her decisions aren't fully there, and they get better as she goes. But she's just kind of dealing with, she doesn't have her memory. She's been in this vault, trained to fight, not really do much more than that. So her decisions are very rash, and that's where that main character differs a lot from Celine in Fives Academy. So in Fives Academy, yeah, she's much more, I've got this, there's a guy there to help me, but I don't need him.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of mentality.
I think that makes sense with the vault. I mean, I could only imagine being in that situation of not having your memory and only knowing certain things. I mean, it definitely makes sense as your decision making is not going to be great. So I'm super excited to read it and see see all the things that happen because it sounds fantastic.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited for you.
Now, do you have any events coming up that you'll be at?
Not at this time. I just did 2 this year. I did Book Bash. I don't know if you heard of that. That's also a great. It's out in Ashtabula, and they do a very phenomenal job with that. Very, indie author and vendor focused. And I think it's either like the 4th or 5th year. And if they watch us, I'm sorry. The numbers are all everywhere, but they do such a great job out in Ashtabula. I did that one back in April, and then I went to the Big Ohio Book Con. Right now, I don't have any in play. Summer gets pretty busy with trips and family events and things like that. So that was kind of the 2. Maybe next year we'll hopefully get to do more. But.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Was this your first year at the Big Ohio Book Con?
It was the second. I know last year was the first year they did it, and then this year, was the second. And I was very fortunate I got to attend both. It was very, very busy, very fun. Last year was certainly more hot.
Yes. I do appreciate that things were spread out more this year because last year it was very tight and very warm. So it's a lot better.
I think they took the feedback from last year and they ran with it. They did such a phenomenal job with it.
Yeah, I agree. So looking at, your first series and then Fives Academy, are there any messages or certain things that you want readers to take away from those books?
Yeah. Lots of stories to take away, besides eating Oreos and Fives Academy. I think so for Fives Academy, one of the biggest takeaways that I want readers to kind of not learn from it, but again, take away from it is people grieve in their own ways. There's a lot of hardships that you go through, and just to know you're not alone in the world that's out there, and to just kind of keep going and don't give up on yourself. And then if you do have that, sibling bond relationship, don't let that get tethered. Be there for each other and support each other, and, keep each other kind of going through that tough time. I think for Fives Academy, that's probably the big takeaway behind that whole plot in that book. And as far as the Vault and the Alliance, probably the takeaway in that one too is very much along those lines of just don't give up. Don't give up in yourself. Don't give up in others. Keep going, and kind of persevere, and it gets brighter eventually. You have lots of up and downs. I think that's probably the takeaway from both of those is very similar yet different.
No, I love that. Those are all very nice, uplifting, positive things to take away. So that's fantastic. Now with the characters and everything, are they inspired by anybody that you know, or did you just completely from scratch?
Honestly, my stories come from, I have a dream. So it's probably like a mix of things that have happened in the last year to like 10 years ago that my brain decided to just put in one. But based on main characters, everything, there's not really someone that I've kind of thought of and was like, oh yeah, let's like create this character kind of based off them. Maybe some tendencies here and there, but a conglomerate of things, but not really based off one person. My dream state might say otherwise, might be telling me like, no, you got this from here.
Right.
And I want to know the difference, but it's solely what my brain kind of picks and pulls, whether it's from like TV shows or things like that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I would like to say that I think it would be so cool to write a book, but I also am not that creative. I think in elementary school I maybe did like the gosh, I don't remember, maybe like the young authors thing or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was as far as I got. So I definitely commend every single author who is creative enough to come up with all of these stories. But then I think it takes a lot of bravery and courage to put all of those thoughts together and then just put them out in the world and go, here you go. Tell me if you like it.
Love it, hate it, you know. No,
Right.
thank you. Those are all, that's very kind words. And honestly, you know, authors wouldn't be here without readers. So the readers are amazing, you know, the feedback and everything. And it's just a great community too to be involved in.
Absolutely. So, what are some ways that readers can help support indie authors the most?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ones is, you know, sharing. And it's very hard to get your books out there without having to put a lot of, you know, monetary investment into advertisements. So a lot of sharing really does go a long way. And then the other thing is reviews. I know there's a lot of readers, which is okay. I mean, it's warranted. I do it too. And if there's not a lot of reviews, you'll kind of like, maybe not. Maybe I'll find a different one. So
Mm-hmm.
reviews really, I mean, readers are the lifeline to authors, and their reviews really come in clutch and help give that boost, give that visibility, and make it like when someone clicks on their book and looks at it and like, okay, yeah, look at these reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll try it. Versus, okay, maybe not. It has 12 reviews. Let me find something else. So I think that's a huge way that readers can support all authors. So if they like it, or even just a quick little rating at the end, if it's a Kindle, is a huge help.
Mm-hmm. No, that definitely makes sense. And I know I've mentioned before to other people that 100% before I started doing ARC reads, I did not review anything. And it was more of because I was like, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Like, why would I put that review in there? I've moved past that now and I do review things, but I think it's definitely like I like to encourage people like, no, please put your thoughts on there. Like somebody is going to be scrolling through to figure out, do I want to read this book or not? And I think, like you said, it's helpful to just get the word out. And I didn't realize how helpful until I started doing ARC reads, and I was like, oh, I should have been doing this a long time ago.
Yeah, well, we love ARC readers. I love ARC readers, and again, thank you. It it's a huge help in one, you know, getting the book noticed, and then two, at this stage, everything's pretty much already developed, but you still have a chance to make neat, like little minor tweaks, or if there is some grammar that slipped through your editing, and I think that's very helpful in itself. I know both of my books have gone through multiple professional editors, at least two professional editors for each of them. I like to do like a copy edit, line edit, and then go through it again, and then a final proofread, and then sometimes I'll slip it to one or two other people to take another set of eyes on it, and I'll push it out to ARC readers. But I think that last little final bit with ARC readers really does help too. Hey, just so you know, this was kind of off, and you're like, ooh, great catch, thank you. Or the little thing that somehow, you know, everybody's brains put it together, but really it was like, oh, my character, you know, put the pencil down on the table, and then all of a sudden they're outside in a different setting, and it didn't catch because it was just something so small. So sometimes those things get caught in that level, and that's a huge help.
Yeah. How long does the whole editing process take when you're writing a book?
Yeah, I guess that depends, because I feel like you're always editing, even though when you're first writing, you shouldn't really be editing, just going through and not worrying about that. I find it hard for me because when I sit down to write, it's maybe once a week if I get a chance. And by the time I'm doing that, I need to sit down and be like, okay, where am I? And then I reread through it. And then as I'm doing it, I'm like, this is so wrong. And I'm
Right.
changing
I was going to say it'd be
it
very
all.
tempting to go, I need to fix this before I can keep moving on.
Yeah. And then by the time I get to the part where I can type new things, the hour that I had allotted for it is already done, or it's, you know, like 11:30 at night. And I'm like, okay, I got to get up at 5:45.
Mm-hmm.
Do I write? Do I not? So kind of the editing process it takes a long time. And it also depends on availability with who you go through editing. The last two books that I wrote, I had a copy line edit done by West of Mars, and she's really great and puts hilarious comment notations in it. And it also depends on their availability. She's usually pretty quick at getting you in. But it can take some time. I know with Fives Academy, it took a good, well, at least 2 years or more for the whole entire process. And editing probably took a good 8 months. But again, that's on my slow time frame of doing it. So, and I have a little nice, I don't know if you read the dedication page in Fives Academy.
I might have. I don't remember.
It's basically just a, you know, to my girls, without you, this book would have been 2 years ago or done 2 years ago, but also without you, you know, I would have lost two very special pieces of myself. So there's a little funny but heartfelt comment in there, which is really, really true, as that one took me a long time. I know some authors are like, I had this done in 8 months, and I'm like, you are my goal.
Right?
That is amazing.
Right. I think you'll get there. You will. And I think it's also, you know, from a reader perspective, I think we're always, especially when we're waiting for the next book, we're like, what is taking so long? Just get us the book. But it really is just such a long process. Like, it's not just a simple, wrote it, here you go. Like, there's so many steps that you have to go through. And so I think that's kind of a nice refresher for us to have patience for our authors, because they are really putting all of this time and effort and money and everything into building these amazing stories for us. Now, do you have any advice or encouragement or anything for anybody listening who is thinking about becoming an author?
Yeah. I say do it, first of all, because if you don't, then you won't. You just gotta get into it. There's a lot of writing communities on social media that I highly recommend. I learned a lot from fellow authors, still learning a lot from fellow authors. There's so much to learn. But I think that was a good starting point. And then you can find certain tools that kind of give you an outline and guide that a lot of authors have created for each other, which is a huge help, because when you start, you don't realize, okay, not only you have to write this, you should, you know, kind of follow a certain path with certain beats in the story. And not only that, is once that gets done, where am I getting it published? Who's doing, like, what apps do I use? What should I write it in? How should I outline it? And there's a lot to it. So first of all, do it. And then it will feel overwhelming, but just know that if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And there's a huge community to back you, and have fun doing it. If you're, doing it as on the side or just getting into it, don't do it to stress you out. Do it because it's fun. And I think that's a good place to start. And you can always reach out if they have any questions. I have my social media online as well. And I think a lot of indie authors, wouldn't be hurt if you reach out to them and say, hey, I really liked your book. Do you have, what's your number one tip for a new author, a new writer? And I think a lot of authors are encouraged by it. At least I know I would be honored to be asked that question. So
Mhm.
I think that's a very good spot to start, would be social media and looking into and doing your research.
Yeah. And I feel like the more that I've gotten into kind of the indie author space, I feel like everybody, at least everyone that I've run into, seems so just encouraging each other and supporting each other. And our last interview was with Cindy Breck, and she's like, I'll email you all these authors that you can interview too. Like, she was so excited. And I just think it's so refreshing to see everybody just building each other up and supporting each other and just building that community there. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, it stretches beyond, author and reader. There's so much. You also have vendors, people that make bookish things, and it really is such a great community. So, well, we can be a little wild, but it's great.
No, I very much enjoyed seeing all the vendors at the Big Ohio Book Con too. And there's one in particular, Elegant Designs, but it's a three at the beginning instead of an E. But they make the cutest, like little mini books. I have a mini book keychain, and then I got a book counter, and you can get like little plants, and I got a little dragon and a cat to sit on it. Oh my, it's the cutest stuff ever. I was like, listen, you guys are going to make me spend all of my BookCon money here. I need to walk away.
That's really cute. I'll have to, okay, I'm going to have to look them up. Elegant, I'm writing that down.
Yes, they are fantastic. And if you go on our Instagram page, I have a couple posts on there with some of this stuff and I tag them in it so then you can find their page.
Oh, perfect.
They're fantastic. I love it.
Now there's so many neat things. I saw some people with like a dragon on their finger, the little finger dragons that were crocheted. I'm like, those are cool.
Yes. I love it. And I tried to start crocheting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a new hobby. Crocheting is not for me. So whenever I see people make all these cute little things, I'm like, I'm just in awe because I tried to make little sea turtles and I only made the head and that's as far as I got. So I'm in awe by anyone who can do that.
I made a lot of scarves when I was younger, and I think I still have a lot of these half finished projects that are like this big. And this was gonna be a blanket, and no, I don't know what I was thinking. But you hand me, a crochet needle now, I will make a knot. So
I think it's just all the counting. I would lose track of what number I was on, and then I would get frustrated. And I just be like, you know what? I'm just not gonna do it. I'm gonna just go read because that's easier.
Yeah. Yes. I'm gonna escape into a book now with my turtle. Yes, I like it.
So, if people want to find you, where are you on social media, website, all of that good stuff?
Yeah, so I do have a website. It's www.authorelwood.com is my website, and I have a lot of all my social medias on there, so you can find me there. And I basically think I have all social media: Facebook, Twitter, which I never get on, Instagram, which I'm also hardly on, Threads, which I'm again not on too much, and I do have TikTok. So I have them all. Just I don't post as often. So
that's fair. I'm also trying to get better about posting more often on ours too. Leah and I are working on that, and it's one of those like that balance of we're not trying to stress ourselves because this is supposed to be fun, but also trying to get some stuff out. So it's just finding that balance.
Yeah, and that can be hard because I feel like deadlines and just time comes before you know it and passes. And like last weekend, I don't even remember what last weekend was, but I remember looking forward to it, and now it's gone. It does. It catches up. And
yeah, that's fair. Well, thank you so much for hopping on here and chatting with us. I will definitely link some of your socials in the description of this video so that way you guys can go find her, follow her, check out her books. And then feel free to follow along on our channel for all of our shenanigans that we'll have here and there. And there's a little bell icon if you guys want to get notifications whenever we post something new. But we will chat with you guys next time. Bye.